Episode 9, and yeah, we're not overanalyzing this one. We open with Titan X fleeing from a pursuing Godzilla. Godzilla looms like Jaws, dorsal plate swaying. He's menacing as hell in this shot. Monarch's chasing too, and everything's headed towards Skull Island. And already, I know this is just another tease. This should be where things pop off, but they won't. Back on the Monarch ship, they're trying to figure out what's going on. They think Kate and Kentaro are being held captive by whoever stole Titan X's egg, unknowing of Kentaro's dumbassery. So then Godzilla and Titan X square up, growling and roaring at one another. But this is short-lived. Keiko tries to explain it. Godzilla doesn't need to kill Titan X, just push it back to where it belongs. Which is in character for Monster vs. Godzilla, especially before he roid raged across Earth in Godzilla x Kong. Cool, makes sense, but also that means we still don't get a fight, so Godzilla just leaves. Riveting. We cut to Kate, Kentaro, and Isabella, arguing once again. Kate trying to get answers, but can't even ask the right questions or stay on the same topic, let alone letting Kentaro answer her question before asking another. I swear this character just talks in circles. Tim and May hit Skull Island, and we get some peak writing.
The only thing we can do is get in and out as fast as we can. Let's find out where they're leading Titan X, and then get it back to Access Mundi. Her back to Access Mundi, where she belongs.
Thank you, very important. Glad we stopped for that. Meanwhile, Shaw and Keiko are going through Bill's map, trying to figure out how to use a rift to send Titan X back to Access Mundi. And this is where the episode finally wakes up a little. The jungle becomes alive and starts picking off Monarch soldiers. These weird death crab creatures start tearing through them, and this is the most monster show this has felt in a minute. A good throwback to the desperate atmosphere and vibe of Kong's Skull Island. And May almost gets eaten, and I was sitting there like, come on, finish the job! Kong senses Titan X and starts hauling his monkey ass towards the intruder. Back at the base, Isabella finally reveals her plan. She wants Titan X to kill Kong, and she plans on achieving this by using the neuron weapon to amplify her aggression. This is an insanely stupid plan. Kentaro, of course, gets mad because she lied. And I'm like, brother, what did you expect? So they gas Titan X and knock her out. And now they think they're in control. Yeah, we've all seen this one before. We cut back to Shaw and Keiko, and this actually is one of the better moments in the episode. They're talking about Bill and what drove him, why Skull Island mattered so much. Then Keiko asks this silly question.
I thought I did. But he left Hiroshi, and he came here. Something was different. What changed after I was gone?
What changed, Kay? After we lost you? Everything changed. Everything.
Keiko asked that as if she never considered what her disappearance did to Bill and Shaw. But anyway, we flash back again. Bill losing it, obsessed, chasing answers, and pushing everything else away, even Hiroshi. Suzuki tries his hardest to convince him not to ignore the family he has for the one he lost. But Bill is determined and driven by guilt and his never-ending scientific mind. He always believes there's a possibility. And then once again, back in the present, Keiko finds Bill's camera, realizing this is where he died. And I'm not gonna lie, the way she reacts is fucking crazy.
God damn you, Billy! I trusted you. I believed in you, and you threw it all away for what?
Like, you betrayed this man, and he still went looking for you, and now you're mad at him? Nah, that ain't it, Chief. We get Bill's final message, and it's actually really heartfelt.
I didn't have the words when it mattered, but I hope you hear them now.
That you could possibly be in love with me lies beyond all logic. I vow to love you in this world or any other. No matter where this love takes us, I'll follow you to the ends of the earth and beyond.
Sad, honest, and it closes that loop nicely. Back to Titan X. It wakes up, and they immediately crank up its aggression. Kong is still on the way, because apparently he's running Snake Way to get to the other side of the fucking island. Then Kentaro reveals his master plan. He wants to use Axis Mundi to go back and stop Hiroshi from dying, to change history. Yeah, that's what Kentaro thinks is gonna solve this. What a stupid fucking character. And that, thankfully, is where this episode ends. Here we are, episode 10, the finale of season 2, Monarch Legacy of Monsters. We open with Shaw and Keiko trying to contact Tim after discovering Bill's rift. And right away, we get a solid character moment with Keiko, who realizes she was wrong about Bill. She thought he abandoned Hiroshi, thought the worst of him, but in reality, he was just trying to put his family back together. They get interrupted by these rolling spike creatures tearing through the jungle, and immediately realize they're running from something. We move fast. Monarch links up, steals a jeep, and finally starts acting competent for once. Meanwhile, at the base, they crank Titan X's aggression to the max. Because of course they do. Kate escapes and ends up right next to an enraged Titan, and somehow doesn't die again. Ah, the plot armor. And then, King Kong arrives. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Kong versus Titan X. They circle, and then they finally clash. Kong is beating the fuck out of Titan X at first. He's stronger, more physical, just throwing ape hands. But then they crank the aggression again, and Titan X goes feral. Now it's a real fight. They're clawing, biting, tearing into each other. It's primal and it's chaotic. And it actually feels like a good kaiju fight. But then it just kinda ends. The system overloads, Titan X breaks free, grabs her egg, and Kong just lets it go. And of course, I'm just sitting there like, that's it? That's the big payoff after 2 seasons? After all that buildup, I'm really disappointed. They lead Titan X back to the rift, and the plan works, everything wraps up clean. And then we get this moment. Titan X reaches out and touches Kate. Bro, fuck this trope. I am so sick of this. Human has a special connection with the Titan. It's bullshit. It's lazy, overdone, and it adds nothing. I have more creative writing in my left testicle than these writers had this entire show. Stop doing this, please. But then, the episode actually saves itself a little. Shaw approaches the rift and sees his younger self. In this moment, this one actually hits pretty well. There's no big speech, no over-explaining, just a look, a smile, and a salute. And with that, you can see how much pain there is in Shaw. And when Keiko asks what he said, Shaw just responds, he said goodbye. That's it. That's all it needed. We close 6 weeks later. Shaw tracking what's next, Kentaro still chasing this time travel idea, and then the final shot. The return of RODAN. Oh yeah, it's always good to see our boy in all of his volcanic glory. Well, this finale, it was a mixed bag. Shaw's story as usual was actually solid, and that ending moment with himself, one of the best in this season. Now the kaiju fight, it was cool, but way too short-lived for what they built up. And everything else, Kate, Kentaro, and all that, is still by far the weakest part of the show. Overall, it wasn't terrible, but definitely not what it could have been. It was entertaining enough for me to want to come back and see what happens next. But that doesn't mean that it couldn't have been a hell of a lot better. If you've been watching my Monarch Legacy of Monsters review, you already know how I feel about this show in general and all of its characters. It continues to suffer the same problems that we saw in the Monsterverse. There's just too many characters and too many things going on. If they honed in on some of the really interesting characters and storylines like Shaw, Keiko, and Bill, this show would just be so much better off for it. I know I've said it again and again, but Kate, Kentaro, and May, they're just terrible characters. I'm not interested, and it takes away the attention from the things that actually matter, the good stories and the monster action. And wow, that being the finale for 2 seasons of a monster show, that's the battle we got. I'm sorry, it was just weak. And they used the idea of the monsters not always having to finish one another and, Godzilla basically backing off because he didn't have to kill Titan X. I understand that, but they used that plot device to cheap out the show and not give us those big monster moments. We should have spent way more time with Shaw and developing his character and why he does the things he does and how he feels, as well as how he has decided to deal with all of these traumas throughout the years. But no, instead, we just keep going back and forth, back and forth. This show does not let you sit with any scene for more than a couple moments. It's constantly cutting back and forth, scene to scene, scene to scene. They don't just let you immerse yourself into the show, and it's a huge problem. The show really suffers from bad pacing and a lot of bad, unnecessary writing. And unfortunately, I don't have high hopes for season 3 either. As cool as the RODAN reveal was, they're not going to do anything with it. And that has become obvious. Unless they sit here and listen to the true kaiju fans and decide to change something, it's just not going to happen. The show did too well, it made too much money. So, regardless of any kind of criticism that real fans of the kaiju shows give it, I think we're doomed to much of the same in season 3. Well, thank you for following along for my Monarch Legacy of Monsters review. It wasn't a lot of fun. It took me a lot of bong rips to get through the show, but in the end of the day, I get to sit here and talk about my favorite thing in the world, Godzilla. So, tune in next time, and we'll see you back for some more Godzilla Island.